Okay, so we have 21 questions for the bombshell, which is myself, and we're gonna just get right to it. Number one, you are getting older. May I ask what TV shows you watch? It varies. I go from Yellowstone, of course, which is my newfound favorite and my newfound love, if you will. I find myself drifting away from the wrestling genre. I find myself going towards like 90 Day Fiance, Married at First Sight, a lot of Hallmark movies, especially if it's got Ryan Paevey. I'm trying to think of yet Mark Declan. There we go. He's adorable. I love that man. Um, and Cameron Matheson and those kind. Andrew Walker, especially. But I just don't see myself watching too much rough and tough stuff. I love the Cowboy Way, but I think they took it off INSP, which is interesting. If you really analyze my love for Yellowstone, I guess some of it comes from watching the Cowboy Way, Alabama. So there you go. 2. What would your perfect room look like? Oh goodness, my perfect room. I would say a lot of country motif. I always loved the way when we would walk into a Po Folks restaurant, there was just different ways they would set the restaurant up. What I can recall and remember was the hardwood floors, okay? So I know perfect room, bedroom, we're just going to go with perfect room being a bedroom, but yet being the bedroom bigger with having its own bathroom, which would have a shower and a toilet and all that stuff, like a full bathroom. And a country motif in here with like horses. I love horses. A lot of horses and more like mason jars filled with flowers because I love mason jars. I actually told the girl at Goodwill tonight, oddly enough, that they had those beautiful mason jars. She said that what she thought was someone makes those and then donates them. So I guess it's just a hit and miss when you walk in if you find those or not. But oh, they were gorgeous. And anyway, mason jars filled probably with well, if we had lots of real flowers right now, but it's the winter, but fake flowers right now since we're in the winter. And just like a country scene. I'll have to dry this one off, more or less, throughout here. And it would be kind of a hardwood floor, but yet you'd have designer rugs down. And I don't know, probably not as much stuff as I've kept. I'd have to part with it. But a lot of it has emotional ties to my childhood. So I don't know, just depends. But my perfect room would definitely be a little bit bigger and have its own bathroom. And it would have, other than that, I would like a little bit more room and have some decorations that were more country motif. And I love the ceiling fan. That would stay. Maybe the ceilings, instead of just having the ceilings with we have what they call like a star ceiling in the front room where you look up and it's like you're out and lying underneath the stars, and it's beautiful. I love that. I'd love to have that in both bedrooms actually, but maybe that ceiling in here as well. And just fresh paint, of course. But that's what I would say would be a perfect bedroom. What do you wish you knew more about? Oh, goodness. I think every day in life, it's a journey that we don't know everything, that you have to be teachable, no matter what you're doing, whether it's work, whether it's life, whether it's being a friend, giving relationship advice. Not one of us is perfect. We're all learning, right? Otherwise, if we don't learn, then we're not teachable, and then therefore we don't move forward, or we don't learn from our mistakes, or we repeat the same mistakes. So I think that, life in general, we all wish we knew more about it. 9. What mystery do you, or 4, sorry, my eyes are playing tricks on me. What mystery do you wish you knew the answer to? In a roundabout way, I posted on my Facebook the other day something about thank you for all the views and everything, and my cousin Penny had posted something like, you wish you knew about who was watching your videos. It was something along that line. So I always would like to know more about my viewers. I know some of you because you email me, and I'm grateful for that. But I would like to know why you're watching, what causes you to watch. Hopefully, it's not some bitter, evil rival or someone who thinks poorly of me and wishes me ill well, and likes only when I have bad things happen to me. Hopefully it's somebody who wants what's best for me, and I just would like to know more about my viewers and more who's liking my videos. 5. How different was your life 1 year ago? Well, I didn't know about Yellowstone. It was colder, I want to say. I was just adjusting to not having grandma around, which honestly I forgot that in How Was Your Day Bombshell. We went out to go get a gas card tonight, and I will expand on this. The young lady used to work at Cracker Barrel, but I didn't recognize her. And she's like going, "You don't realize who I am, do you?" And I thought, am I supposed to? Your mind doesn't always match people, places, and time. And she had to remind me she used to work at Cracker Barrel. She said, "You used to come in here a lot with your family." Now, the smart aleck in me is kind of the Beth Dutton side, is thinking, okay, I'm not a 12-year-old. You're not going to see me come in here with my family all the time. Although in her defense, roughly I was always seen pushing grandma's wheelchair or being around my family all the time. So for me to come in, even if it's a quick run in, it's something that's rare. So I would say, when I went to go get the gas card, she asked me, of course, about my family, how they are, where they were at. And it's just like, okay, I really don't want to expand on that. Some of those things hurtful, especially the month of January. But you just get through it because you put one foot in front of the other, and you just put your head up and you go, okay, I took all the blows and I'm going to keep moving forward because that's what I'm supposed to do. So I would say my life 1 year ago, I was getting used to, well, right now I've been preparing grandma's, I can't even say it. You have to just go through life and deal with the blows, but make the best of it too. So it's been painful. You just have to adjust to it. It's never easy. You just got to go forward. What's the single best day on the calendar? That's number 6. I used to be one of these that would celebrate every freaking holiday and be one of these that I looked forward to the next holiday. Now I find myself getting older and wanting to slow life down a little bit, yet at the same time wanting to be prepared for things, if that makes any sense. I still have the New Year's Day flags outside because I haven't moved over to the February flags yet, which I probably should do because the inside of the house is set up for Valentine's Day, for instance, but the outside clearly isn't. I just want to make every day on the calendar a memorable day, something about that day to say, oh yeah, I remember that day because moments pass, time passes, and you got to cherish the ones who make the time count that's with you. And that's what I appreciate, and I hope that everybody does in their life. Don't take anything for granted because life's a dance. We learn as we go. What are some things you've had to unlearn? Oh, good gravy. This one's a loaded question. I would say not to be so trustworthy, meaning trusting others too much, believing the best in others, because some people don't have all your best interests at heart. Some of them are clearly selfish and have evil thoughts or evil intentions, and therefore they act out what they think is in your best interest, but yet it's for their best interest. I would say also to put my guard up around my heart and not believe, because words are so wonderful, but actions speak louder than words. 8. What fad or trend do you hope comes back? This is ironic, actually. I think if we slow down life a little bit Meaning, you know how fast we moved from like a VHS to a DVD, from a DVD to the Blu-ray, and then now you can get everything digitally online, right? I would love to slow things down, not to the back point where we go back to the, well, maybe back to the VHS tapes, back to the cassette tapes before we had the DVDs and the CDs, and then you went online for everything. You know, I would like to see, since, you know, the record players kind of made a comeback there for a while, wouldn't it be nice to see the cassette tapes and the DVDs to come back for a while? Heck, even the 8 tracks, even though I never had an 8-track player. It's just, it seems like some of the things we call progress is not really progress. It just regresses us. But anyway, 9. What do you consider your best thrift store find? Oh, good gravy. Over the years, I've had so many good thrift store finds. I've had outfits, or clothing, if you will, gifts that I bought for other people. I've had carousel horses that I love dearly, to cherished teddy bears, little, you know, ornaments that I decorate with. There's not just one thing that I could pinpoint. My Western clothing with the snap buttons down the front, I adore them dearly. There's just been too many to consider one the best find. What have you recently formed an opinion about? My age, how old I'm getting, where I'm seeing limitations, and in life and in love and everything. It feels like that, okay, I'm not going to be around forever and a day, so just appreciate the time I have and go forward. Who do you believe watches your YouTube videos? Would it be friends, men you have dated, men who are interested in you, or rivals? Ooh, what a loaded gun. We have them a lot tonight. This is question 11. I would say I know my friends watch. Men I have dated, I don't know so much about that. Men who are interested in me, maybe. Rivals, I'm at the point, who cares on that. 12. Valentine's Day plans are, oh, good gravy. We are about, 3 weeks away from this? 4 weeks? I have gotten 3 shirts. I don't even know why. I have a red dress. I don't know why. That I haven't even tried on. My mom's been like, try it on, try it on. I'm like, no, it's probably going to remain in the package. I don't see a reason. I don't even know why I bought 2 dresses, but I did. Well, yeah, I take that back. I wanted our holiday pictures to look outstanding, so that's why I bought them. But then I never even wore them, so I don't know. They say everything happens for a reason. Maybe the man upstairs had more of a plan than I do for it, right? Anyway. 13. Since watching Yellowstone, your 2021 attitude is tougher than ever before. Is it the show that caused it, or life? I would say a mix. I have taken, maybe some of that Beth Dutton attitude. I don't have all of her character, but I have some. And I would say life in general burns you in some way. And it kind of just molds you into, okay, you're either going to be a soft sunflower for the rest of your life, or you're going to start being tough, not so much rough maybe, but tougher, and you're going to be like, okay, look, this obviously is not going to be the plan for my life. I want love and happiness and all that stuff. Who doesn't, right? But obviously, I'm hard to love, and I don't make it easy at all. So I would say life in general. And back to the Valentine's Day plans, no matter what happens that day, which I'm leaving that one wide open. Okay, what I prefer to happen that day, let's go back to that one, because I don't really feel like I answered that one. Valentine's Day plans. Close that up. Valentine's Day plans. Even though I have so many new outfits, I am so used to being let down. And what I see happening is this. My family will come up here. If Fleschner's is open, we're probably going to be going to Fleschner's. And we'll have dinner there. And that's if I'm off. No guarantees there. But if it's, and after they leave, I'll probably either watch Yellowstone or Hallmark movies, just to, be like, okay, this is my day, I'm not going to be the starry-eyed, hopeless romantic young girl, because I'm getting older and I'm starting to see myself age more, and I don't like it. So therefore, I'm just planning enough for what I would want to do versus what me and a date would do, because it's like, why plan all this stuff? Why buy another gift when I already have a bag? I have 2 bagfuls. This is just 1 bag full of gifts I have, okay? I've got another bag full of gifts because my hopeless romantic heart is always like being so damn hopeful that it's like, oh, this is going to be the year. Well, I've stopped, okay? And it is what it is anymore, so we go from there. Would you ever move to Utah or Montana where Yellowstone is filmed? Ooh, I have fallen in love with that show, but to move there would be a huge, huge jump. Maybe nice to visit. They say you can rent that Yellowstone, which that if I ever won the lottery, that's probably what I would do. Go there for a visit, rent out the place maybe for like a month, and just relax. But I don't see me ever moving there permanently to either place. Why are you feeling so old? Great question. I think there comes a time in life where we realize we're not as young as we used to be, or, some of the things that we wanted when we were younger are just not going to happen, no matter how disappointing or disheartening it is. And is it impossible to die from a broken heart? Who knows? It probably is, but not impossible, I wouldn't say. I would say it's possible. But that's where I leave it. 16. Are you keeping the gifts from previous years or going to eventually give them to like a Goodwill? Are you still hopeful in love on Valentine's Day? You guys, it's like the same question. Okay, I'm keeping the gifts, obviously. Am I hopeful in love? I would say I have love with my family. I have love with my friends. But hopeful in love, not so much anymore. I've learned to be guarded. I've learned to keep my guard up around my heart, not to be so trusting. And I have learned that, just don't believe everything you think, because when you think that the guy is the right guy, chances are there's some secret he's keeping from you, and it's not good. So, there we go. 17. Even though you say love isn't for you, for argument's sake, I knew I was going to argue that, if you fall in love, will you still have kids, either adopted or biologically, and would they even be in your realm of possibility? Oh, good gravy. I am getting older, but if I was ever stupid enough to fall in love again, I would say I would want him to go with me to visit Dr. H. That's my nickname for my favorite doctor in the whole wide world. I would want it laid out on the table, pros and cons, to see if we could even be in the realm of a pro. I know the cons, but for my sake, I'd want him to hear it. Would I adopt? If he was willing and he would be able to treat that kid like it was his own and not shun it and be like, okay, that kid isn't my kid because it didn't come from me biologically. If I was ever stupid enough to fall in love again, I would say I would want him to be supportive if we did decide to do it biologically, and years past, I've always wanted a biological child. There's always been that huge argument of would there be drugs involved for me wanting, the epidermal or not. And I would say I would want it all laid out on the table. But to me, some would say this is wrong, some would say this is right. If it came down and we were biologically going forward with it and we both were on the table for it saying, okay, this is going to happen, we're going to do it biologically, yada, yada, yada. We know the risks, we know the pro cons, everything in between. I would want it understood that if it came to a life or death situation, I would not want to live without the kid. I would want the kid to make it and me not to make it. That's the way I see that. 18. I know your new tough persona doesn't allow for weakness or you time, quote unquote. But if you had one day not to stress or worry about anything or anyone, how would you spend it? Ooh, what a loaded. You guys are so good with these questions tonight. I would say if I had one day to myself where I didn't have to worry about anything or anyone, I don't know. I've never really had that. I would probably be like, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm always been so structured, and it's like very family oriented. It's like, when grandma was around, I always had to be around for her because what if she need me, And I don't think that all of my dates in the past understood how my family core was, yes, my mom and my stepdad and my nieces were a great big part of my life, but I reside with my grandparents. I'm also not only granddaughter, I'm caregiver, And so I had a huge responsibility with grandma. And a lot of them didn't know the responsibility that I had with grandma. Mike knew. I mean, he knew full, because there was times I'd have to say, because we met on social media, which at the time was Yahoo Messenger. So I would have to say, okay, time out. I have to go talk to grandma about this. I'd have to go give her a breathing treatment, give her medicine, and then back in I would talk to him again. So, but some men wouldn't understand that. And I, of course, wasn't that enlightening with them, and they never really got to understand that. But because I didn't want them to think, okay, she's so sheltered that her family life is all she has. In reality, my family life was a huge part. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that as a caregiver, you understand what your priorities are. And where were we at? Okay, that was 18. 19. Did you watch Raw? I had it on, but I was not really focused on it. So, yes and no. 20. How many seasons of Yellowstone do you currently own and have you watched? And what is your favorite moment? Great question. I have ordered all 3 seasons. I have watched season 1 and season 2 now. I have not got season 3 yet. I'm hoping it'll get here tomorrow. And my favorite moment, oh goodness, there's been so many. Both seasons, it's addictive. You have to watch it in order to learn, in order to move with the characters and grow with the seasons. I feel like that in season 1, we thought that John Dutton had colon cancer. Season 2, we find out that's not the case. Season 1, we learned that he had 4 kids. In season 2, he may have had biologically 4 kids, but honestly, Rip was like his own kid too, because he had to raise Rip kind of. And he came to him in a bad situation, and more or less to me, he grew up almost side by side like Beth, although they don't have that brother-sister relationship, but yet it's that romantic relationship, and it draws you in, and each character draws you in. Then there's Casey and Monica, and you want to know what's going to happen in their relationship. You have John and the governor and their rocky relationship. Then you have Jamie, he may have the same mother as all of them, but they're hinting at that John Dutton may not be really his father, which will probably come out in season 3, but I haven't seen that moment yet. It's really a great show, and while it's for mature audiences and the language isn't always the best, I do like the situations and the scenarios. And I love when the YouTubers go as far as making music videos, and there's lots of them right now with Rip and Beth. And they're just my favorite couple. There's so many favorite moments with Rip and Beth. Like when he finds her on top, she calls him and says, come join me on the roof. Kind of, she says, come find me, but he ends up crawling up to the roof. And she sits with him, and they talk. And it gets very personal, very deep. And I like how she's like, well, what did you spend your money on? Which I thought was a little bit crude that she asked that, and definitely rude. But then we find out that Rip, spent it on tombstones for his family. And it's just like you learn so much more, and it's so much character in depth that you just want to know what the next moment's going to be. And then by the look in his eyes towards Beth, and she's like, don't tell me, don't say it. Not on a roof, not under the stars, like a bunch of, I'm doing it cleaner, hippies. She's like, tell me when it saves me. So then there's this situation, she's in an office, and these guys bust in, and it's definitely a fight for her life, and Rip saves the day and shows up. He gets shot, but yet he does save the day, and he makes it. It's not like he dies in that, okay? And what's the very first thing he says to Beth? It's me, Beth. I love you. And he says it right to her, and their eyes, even though her eye is beat up and this eye is fairly beat up, you could tell that the emotion is real and raw and true. And it's just takes your breath away. I've heard you mention Lee Brice. This is actually question 21. Can you imagine that? We've done 21 questions already. I've heard you mention Lee Brice as one of your favorite singers. Name 2 of his favorite songs and why. Oh, good gravy. I love Lee Brice so much that he's got a lot of songs that I love. But the 2 that come to mind would be Hard to Love, because I don't make it easy. And you always want a man to say that to you, that you're hard to love. I also like the song Crazy Girl that he wrote and was sung by the Eli Young Band, but I love hearing Lee Brice sing it. I think that we're all a little crazy, and heck, Rip has told that to Beth too, when they go on a first date, which is not their first date, but out to watch these pack of wolves kill elk. And she runs out of the car towards the wolves because he tells her that she might even cheat death. And he's like, what the F is wrong with you? And she's like, doing what you said, I'm cheating death, And he just looks at her and he's like, you're crazy. And she responds with something like, only things that I love make me crazy or something. And it would be the perfect song to do Crazy Girl to, a music video, just saying. But I think that all men think that us women at one point or another is psycho or has problems and issues, and they just don't know if they can incorporate those problems and issues into their life, so they classify the woman that they're interested in as crazy, but yet that crazy attracts them. So there's a song by Luke Combs that I'm not a huge fan of, but they have made a fan video for Rip and Beth, and it's beautiful crazy, and it's just beautiful for them. But my other favorite Lee Brice song that I want to bring up would have to be Don't Believe Everything You Think, because she's telling herself all these negative things, and he literally just is like telling her in the song not to believe the worst in him, that even though you think that all men are scared of commitment or scared of, having that ring in his pocket, he in fact does. And I think some of the best songs have the most raw emotions in them and make you feel those emotions. And I would hope and pray that if I ever am stupid enough to fall in love again, that the guy would hear that song and be like, okay, I get where she's coming from. That she thinks I'm going to run at the first sign of trouble, and that she's not good enough, and that she thinks she's not beautiful, she thinks she's not pretty, she is used to being talked down to, she's used to not being equal. She's used to coming in second when it comes to another woman or a hobby or something of that nature. And I'm going to put her first. So for a man to do that, and he'd be understanding where I am, with being a caregiver and, being like, hey, you know what, let me take some of that burden off your shoulders. Let me help you, That, I think that would be something that would be a wonderful thing to happen. But do I see it happening? No, because that's in a Hallmark movie. That's in the Yellowstone when you have Rip and Beth, where he sees loyalty as a great way to, be in a relationship eventually with Beth. I think that's what they're hinting at towards season 3. And, I just don't see a man or a Hallmark movie or Harlequin book being of that quality or stature, being able to be like, okay, yeah, I have a life, but you know what? I want to incorporate you into it. Maybe God's going to prove me wrong. I know Grandma, if she's up there listening to me, she's, going, yeah, but I would love for that to happen in a way, yes. But in another way, I'm scared. I am scared because I have heard all of those wonderful words, and I think that's one reason I'm taking the rain check or, off of my dating sites for right now, because I just don't want to believe right now because I've heard all that stuff. There was a scenario where a guy told me he was single, and it ended up that was not true. He was separated, still married, and then had other girlfriends on the side. No, thank you. I didn't want to be a long line of a harem. That's not what I want out of life. In my past, I've had experience with abusive relationships, so why would I want to have another one like that? Where it wasn't just physical, it was abusive. But I put up with it. Why? Because I thought he loved me. And then, there was the time that Donna was young, dumb, and stupid and believed that, forever after really did happen. Miracles do come true, and people move across many states to be with you. Like Mike. And that didn't happen. So, needless to say, I'm used to the didn't happens. I'm not used to the, oh my gosh, she's got all that on her plate and she's still wondering how I'm doing? God, that's wonderful. Maybe because I haven't been so open about all my responsibilities that I have around here, because, we have a dog, we have cats, we have other, things that I help take care of. Maybe that's one reason that I have been so scared, because it's like, how would I juggle all that, And I admire people that can juggle all that. But honestly, I'm at the point where I don't see, yeah, there's always a hope that may be out there for me someday. But I'm scared to believe too much, because if I do, then God forbid, that's when it goes south. So that's where I stand with the 21 questions. Thank you for asking all those questions. Thank you for tuning in. I'm about to lose my voice, and I got to get that out of the dryer to make this bed, get all the stuff moved back in here. God bless each and every one of you. Stay safe, stay well, keep your social distance, wash your hands. When you're not washing your hands, use your hand sanitizer, and always, always wear your mask. Love y'all. Stay safe, stay well.